Yo, welcome everybody to TCR, Trinity Competitive Racing, and welcome to round number 12 for the Hungarian Grand Prix here in the silver class, and for a few more times. As always, in season 15, tonight is our sprint format, as well as our three-tire special. And we'll go over the format here tonight in just a few moments. But it is myself, Seafreeze, once again on the commentary. And I will be taking you all through tonight's proceedings. And for the first time in quite a few races, I am joined by a co-commentator. Not my usual co-commentator, but there's a lot of intel in this commentary booth because we have a three-time Platinum Class champion and current Platinum Class championship leader who will be racing at Hungary later this week at in the Platinum Class is none other than Tasmanian Devil, or aka Vita. So welcome to the booth, and yeah, what are we expecting here tonight?
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to be back in the booth for a little while. I think last time I was in here, it was probably season 14 or 15 for Brazil. So, yeah, it's been quite a long time, and it's a nice change of scenery since, for once, I'm not the one driving. And then in terms of expectations for tonight, obviously it's going to be a bit different to what we're used to since there's not many people racing, but Hungary is a very tricky track. There's a lot of high curbs, and a lot of the corners flow into one another, so you really need to make sure you get the line right. And qualifying is also super important, so it'll be interesting to see what drivers get that right and which ones don't.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, we have the short qualifying here. Yes, as you mentioned, a little lower attendance, unfortunately. Not what we want, although I think one driver does have a race ban. That is Carson's teammate. Right now he is starting a flying lap in the AlphaTauri. His teammate, the Big Toll Barone, got enough penalty points, so unfortunately he has a race ban. And a couple others, you know, are on mission abort F122. Get off the game as quickly as possible. So a few abortions around the town, but you know, nothing, nothing too controversial. So this is what we have here with only a few rounds left. We have Hungary here tonight. Next week is Portugal, and then we finish up in Belgium. So, well, the good news is, I'm not doing this alone, because I would drive myself bonkers, so appreciate you coming to do the comms. And the second is that we do have our three main driver championship contenders on the grid. So, yes, we might have low numbers, but this is still an important round to dictate how not only the drivers but also the constructors championship will go. And I'll go through that now as Carson finishes his lap, and he will go P2, 2/10 off of Camden. So as far as the Drivers' Championship, to set the tone for tonight, it is Camden Luca, who's currently on a lap, purple first sector, also on provisional pole, has 222 points. He's been leading the championship since round 1, and the gap's been fluctuating throughout the season. P2 in the championship is J&B, who's yet to set a lap time today, but he has 204 points. So he's, 18 points back from Camden. Then we have P3 is Carson with 202 points, so he's 20 points back, and obviously there's a lot of points up for grabs here tonight, as Camden even goes more an improvement to a 16.1, because we have the sprint race, which gives out the top 8, so everybody here will get points. The winner will get 8 points, and then all the way down to, I guess tonight would have 2. So that's that. And then as far as the constructors, we have the Haas team of J&B El Capitan with 322 points. And below them is Alfa Romeo with Camden, Luca, and Chabar at 296. So, let's do the math right there. That's 26 points difference, which actually came down a little bit from last week after a good performance by Alfa Romeo. So, we do have all of our championship rivals here tonight, and yeah, well, that's some good news.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, even though the grid's a bit smaller, we do have all of the big players in both championships, so that's it's always nice to see. So, I mean, this round carries pretty much equal importance, if not a bit more than any other round, excluding the other sprint race, because you've got, I think, what's that, 34 points on offer instead of the typical 26.
Yeah. And there was a few extra points last week, a little different format than the Platinum class, but they had the feature race there, so which it kind of all the contenders kind of grabbed a few points, so a couple points in either direction. With what we had the one-shot quali last week in the 5-lap heat race, so a couple extra points there. But if anything, it kind of eliminates the BS here tonight. It's pretty much just put the championship rivals out there and tell them to get on with it. There's less likely any funny business will happen. So that is pretty much a mano v mano v mano, a little triple threat action here tonight between the contenders. So I think it will be very close between them all.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be interesting to see what J&B does. He was on an outlap earlier, and then he came into the pits, and he's still yet to set a time. So I don't know if we'll have time to get in a second run after this. It'll be pretty close. But yeah, he really needs to get in a lap pretty soon.
Yeah, and his teammate El Capitan, I don't know if you want to check in the Discord, but I think he also has a back of the grid for something, because he's still in the, unless he invalidated, or I haven't really seen him at all in the session. But anywho, J&B is out, and yeah, I think this will be his final run of the day, unless he double fueled it up in case he invalidated. But let's go on board with J&B and see what he can do. Coming into turn one, a little blaring in the sun. Hits the apex quite nicely. You kind of want more of a later apex than your earlier apex. Kind of get more focus on that exit down to turn two, which is the only two DRS zones. A lot of your overtaking is going to be in the first four corners here, all the way up to this quick left of turn four. It is a purple sector for J&B. And the rest of this section is very technical, quite high speed, a lot of S section, a little chicane there, hits quite nicely. And this is when your tire temperatures will start to rise throughout the lap. And this is when your practice comes into play, because you want to make sure you have a nice setup under your belt. Just staying within the lines on exit, another purple sector from J&B. At this point, the tires will be screaming, and you just want to keep it nice and tidy around these 180-degree corners. As we come around the final one, try not to be too greedy on the exit. You don't want to bottom out your car to the line. It's going to be P2. So some good purple sectors, but I think losing a little bit in the final corners, unless the sectors were wrong, but that puts him P2 just ahead of Carson.
Yeah, so it just looks like he was losing a little bit everywhere, but particularly Sector 2 and Sector 3, it looks like he lost 0.2 in both of those, so I think he'll have another time to... Oh, wait, no, he's probably not going to make it. Yeah, no, he's definitely not going to make it.
No,
so
definitely not. Oh, here comes El Capitan, so maybe we will see Capitan put a lap in. Qualifying, like you said, is quite important, although with the lower attendance, I don't think it'll be as important. Because even if you qualify pretty poorly, um, there won't be as many DRS trains and a lot of traffic, so you should be able to pick some drivers off, with some of the field spread that we have here. Top 3 in the championship are exactly how they are in the championship, 1, 2, and 3. And it's kind of been like that, actually. They've kind of been qualifying in that order, and then what happens off the start is Carson gets his great starts, and Carson will overtake and be the leader and start messing around at the start. So it's always interesting, these silver class starts.
Yeah, and I think we're going to have to have that today, because it looks like Camden is quite a bit quicker than those two guys. I was practicing with him earlier, and he's consistently been pumping in 16s, 16 flats, just 16 ones. So, and he hasn't gone for a third run, so I think he's pretty confident. Oh wait, or has he? Yeah, no, he hasn't gone for a third run.
Now, maybe for those maybe listening, if they're racing tomorrow or on Platinum on Thursday, if you use because you got to explain this to me. That's really why I'm asking, because I'm going to race this week. If you use all your tire compounds in this one, what happens? Does it matter? Because the sprint race, you get everything new, right?
Yeah. So for the sprint, obviously the only option is to start on mediums or hards. And then for the actual race, there is a chance that you get a glitch. So if you use mediums in the sprint or hards in the sprint, sometimes the game will give you that used set to use in the race rather than a fresh set, which is what you would normally have if there wasn't that glitch. So hopefully nobody has that, but there is always that possibility.
So there is no advantage to saving a soft tire set in the qualifying.
No.
Nothing whatsoever. Okay. Yeah, and Camden didn't go out again, so I don't know. He didn't go out at all at the end, so that is interesting. Capitan is finaling the final corner. He goes P4. Nice lap from him, and the only one left out on track is Carson. So can he get himself on the front row, or if he's really got a lap, can he get pole? He's going to need a big improvement, about a half a second off the pole time so far.
4 tenths up, almost a half a second up, really.
He's moving and grooving. This is when even with this many drivers, the track evolution at this point will be, when you want to set your lap time in, and he went quite late, so he timed it pretty perfect. Yeah, he might need a little bit more to the line. Carson goes P2.
P2, just missed out.
Yes,
I think it was 300ths between them.
Wow. Yeah, 16.144 it says on his steering wheel, so let's see. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
really close.
That's nice. I remember one year it was Sebastian Vettel, when he was at Red Bull at Singapore. He was on pole, and there was a lot of minutes left in the session, and the team, he was so far ahead, and the team asked him, do you think you can improve? And he said yes, of course. The driver always says, yeah, there's some time left in the lap. But they didn't let him go out again, so he stayed in the garage, and he was able to get pole position while not setting a final lap, and that's kind of what Camden did there. Because his qualifying has been, at the beginning of the season, it wasn't quite there, but I want to see how many pole positions he has, because he's been getting a few recently.
Yeah, and I think he had more than anybody else in season 14.
Yeah, he had 8 last season. I do remember that. Let's see if I can open this up. And I was going to say Camden had that pole by a good margin, although Carson kind of squashed it at the end. But last week Carson won. 2 weeks ago we were at USA, and Camden had a pretty dominant pole there by, I would say, about a half a second, and the last time he did that he was quite comfortable in the race win. So this is, let's see, this is Camden's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This would be his 6th pole position. which ties J&B, who also has 6.
Yeah, it's really close between those two. I'm looking at the race results to see how they compare on wins now.
It's kind of been interesting because Camden got the first 3 wins of the season. Then J&B took the next. He took the next 5 in a row. Then Carson won, Camden won, and then Carson won. So it's kind of been like the first third of the season has been more Camden, the middle stint was J&B, and then now we've started seeing a couple Carson wins. So, you know, the 20 points between all of the 3 of them, with more points up in the sprint race plus the race. You know, we're getting down to the wire with 3 races left. So you know, we've seen pretty respectful racing between the 3 of them. But you never know, something could change even here tonight.
Yeah, so it seems like Camden has 4 wins compared to J&B's 6, and then Carson has 2. So I think Camden's just been a bit more consistent, hence the gap he has in the championship. But, well, Carson as well just has slightly fewer wins, so...
Yeah, Carson and Camden both off the podium only once. They missed it only once. J&B, I think, had at least a DNF back at Brazil. He only won. But other than that, he's been on the podium every race but 2. So it's really been great seasons, you know. And whoever wins this championship coming down the line, yeah, I would say deserves it. To be honest, I think they've all done a great job.
Yeah, for sure. I think if J&B does lose this championship, I think it will probably come down to that incident in Brazil. So, yeah, it would be really unfortunate if that's what makes the difference. But, you know, in these sorts of championship fights, you can't make mistakes like that. So,
man, what a championship, you know, we've really had too, because J&B and Carson are both new drivers to the grid, so we had no track record at all on them, and we really thought Camden would fly away with this championship after being runner-up last season, but it hasn't really been the case. It's been quite a close one. So all the drivers lined up here. I think half of them got stuck at Imola. 5 red lights for the sprint race here at Hungary. Carson, man, his starts are good. He's going to be up alongside Camden going into turn number 1. He'll have the inside. I think he'll take it here. Camden going around the outside. A little bit of contact. Going down to turn 2. J&B right behind him. Still side by side. The inside will get preferred for Carson. J&B almost loses the car after he hits the entry curb there on that apex. And he is still moving. He's going to look down the inside of Camden. Oh, it's tight. I think they'll settle in here. But a good start once again from Carson. A great get-a-go off the line. Getaway, whatever it's called.
I think we know what you mean.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
But yeah, the rest of this race is going to be really interesting now because it's very hard to recover ERS around here, even if you're in the DRS. And in that exchange between Carson and Camden, Camden used up about 10% more of his battery. So they'll need to try and pressurize Carson and force him to use his battery if he wants any chance of taking that position back.
Yeah, Camden had a impressive qualifying to get that, pole, and now you're losing it just like that. Carson's had such great starts, and with no pit stops, yeah, he's going to have to, get this one back if he wants the win. Obviously, just if he even finishes second, you know, there's only 1 point for each position, so it's not do or die that you need to win, but you know, obviously you'd like to win it, get a positive out of it.
Yeah, and the thing Camden does have going for him at the moment is that in qualifying at least, he was quicker in Sector 1 and Sector 3, and Carson was a bit quicker in Sector 2. So in both of the sectors that are important to get close and pull off the overtake, Camden was quicker. So we'll see how that plays out over the next 10 laps.
All the positions the same besides Carson and F1 Nerd, who started 7th. Where's the... There it is. DRS is enabled. We'll get it next, pretty much next lap, due to the where the activation zone was. This is a good time for the drivers to kind of get a sense of where they are good and where they're not good. Because like you said, you know, where Carson was good versus where Camden is good, but maybe they don't know that about each other, you know, because they're not in the booth. But you know, this is a good part to get a little intel on them in the sprint race. This way, when you get to the main race, you have a little bit more you know, knowledge. Obviously, now when we get to the 50%, we have the 3-tire special. So you know, you have to use all 3 tire compounds. So that'll be interesting strategy-wise to see what they do. Camden's getting close. We'll have the DRS this time by. Closest driver to one another out on track. Deciding not to use any battery. Quite even on it. Maybe Carson with a little bit more.
Yeah, I think at this stage, it's best to just save the battery. I don't think anything's really going to happen until the last couple laps.
Yeah, I agree. I think if you're gonna try to overtake, like in Camden's position, the best thing to do is just don't use any battery at all. Just save. This way, you just do your one full attack, and if you have so much more battery than the other driver, they really can't defend it. That would be my strategy. I don't think Carson is going to drive away outside of the DRS zone of Camden, so Camden could just kind of stick with him without using any battery. You know, that'll help him in quite a few more laps. He is really close to the back, though.
Yeah, the only issue is the DRS around here is not very strong at all, although it looks like he's going to try it now.
Oh, Carson goes defensive into one. It'll be side by side. J and B will have a nice view. A little bit of contact there. Sparks flying. And this is where they were just as the opening lap. But this time Camden will be a little bit farther ahead. He'll take the corner. But his light is blinking, so Carson will keep note of it. But good move there by Camden, retaking the lead. And we'll see what type of pace he has now with a little bit cleaner air.
Normally, if you have a bit more pace in the dirty air, once you get past, it's pretty easy to pull away. But Camden is pretty low on the battery, whereas Carson has almost 40%. So if Carson can keep up, then it definitely won't be over, as he'll be a lot quicker on the straights, as they all go wide.
Yeah.
It's a nice little camera shot there.
I've always enjoyed Hungary. It's been it used to be one of my favorite tracks, and it hasn't fallen too much off of my tops, but you really don't get a break here whatsoever. I mean, this little straight and then you're back at it basically. This next little straight, but that full middle sector, even the final sector, you know, you're really working the entire lap.
Yeah, track has a really nice flow to it, but it's constant action. You have to get every single corner right, because if you go slightly offline or get a poor exit or anything like that, then you'll mess up the next section of corners and have a horrible lap time.
Nice helicopter. I don't have the helicopter noise that Camden has in the booth, but Taz, you're welcome to try it out if you like.
I'll leave that to Camden.
Okay.
I know him and TJ are just like a different level of crazy, so. Sounds more like a zoo than commentators when they're together.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect a three-time champ to be doing helicopter noises. It seems like a thing a number 2 driver would do. We love you, TJ. Hope you're listening. Go down the order a little bit just to shout out some of these other drivers. Capitan having a nice start, qualified 4th, doing his thing as you know, talking about number 2 drivers. He's really been supporting Haas here, and it's probably one of the reasons why they are in the lead for the constructor championship. He's letting his boy out in front, J&B, do his thing, get those wins, get those podiums. Capitan has been, you know, pretty consistent, getting some podiums, top 5. So another good day for him. Chabar in 5th. He's hanging off right in front of F1 Nerd and Halberg. He's just marginally back from Capitan, but I think he can maybe hold this. There's only a few more laps left, but probably a couple more charges from F1 Nerd.
Yeah, it's looking like Chabar has the legs on him in Sector 2, but F1 Nerd catches up a bit in Sector 1 and Sector 3. So I think it just might be enough. Barring any...
Oh! And that allows Halberg, as F1 Nerd loses the back end there, and he'll be down 1 position.
Yeah, looks like he just got up on the curb and nearly lost the car. This track is a tricky one because you can use the curb in places like Turn 1 and Turn 4, Turn 6 and 7 as well, to help rotate the car a bit and straighten it out sooner. But there's always that risk of just rotating a bit too much over that curb and spinning out, so...
Yeah, you'll also have a lot of downforce at this track because you need it. So, you know, I'm expecting a lot of the drivers to have as close to maximum downforce as, you know, towards the 50, if not 50. So sometimes you have a little bit too much turn-in as well, depending on your suspension and other numbers.
Yeah, especially with the tire temps around here. You have to set up the car to be a bit more on the nose, because if you have any amount of understeer, once the tires start to overheat, then you're just going to be a turtle. So it'll be interesting to see what sort of compromises everyone's made in terms of how much front end they'll put on the car to try and avoid overheating and minimize the downsides overheating when it does happen. But
yeah, and sometimes you get too much turn in, and you're almost more of an oversteer car, which I was on board with J&B earlier in the race, and I feel like J&B loves an oversteer car because he's really hustling that wheel a lot of the time. Sometimes if you have too much of it, it also works the other way, so you need to find that perfect balance. As you see the wiggles there on J&B, I really do think he likes an oversteery car. A nice pointy front end.
Yeah, it seemed like there he just got up on that curb, which normally you try and avoid because it can very easily pick up your car and send you into the wall, but it seems like he got away with it on that occasion.
Lap 10 of 12. Camden was able to get that pass done on Carson, and since then opened up a nice 2-second gap. So he'll be cruising to a nice sprint win, which will award him 8 points if he can continue what he's been doing. And that'll be, 1 additional point over Carson and 2 over J&B. And I do have a feeling if Camden could really maximize today as best as he can, this championship it could be, I wouldn't say over, but definitely more in his favor.
Yeah, if he manages to pull off the win, maybe even get fastest lap, then that would be another 8 points at least, or the guy who finishes second. So it could be a really big day for him in terms of his title hopes. But I mean, there's still 2 laps of this race and a whole 35 laps after this, and anything can happen. So you just have to wait and see.
I really hope he put clear weather on for the for the lobby because we need clear weather for the. I didn't check that.
Yeah, so it is set to clear.
It was. You did check.
Yep, it's set to clear.
You could check here.
Yeah, you just pause it,
really?
go to settings, then weather and time of day.
Interesting. I didn't know that. Cool. The more you know.
Yep. I don't want to jinx it, but it seems like this is going to be how it finishes. Everyone's pretty much equal on the ERS. And the closest battle seems like it's between Jabbar to F1 Nerd, but F1 Nerd has a penalty.
Yes.
And yeah, you need an ERS advantage to realistically make something happen, assuming the driver in front doesn't make a mistake. So
we're coming here onto the final lap of the sprint race. J&B will have some DRS, but Carson does have that advantage, and he'll cover it off nicely after using the battery. So no major mistakes, and like you said, they should finish like this. I wonder if they would ever put a. Do you think they would ever put a DRS zone between turns 3 and 4?
No, I don't think so. It's too short of straight. Oh, what? F1 Nerd had a spin.
Not that it would change position because he does have that penalty, but Halberg also pretty close to Jabbar, but nothing going.
Yeah, it seems like he didn't pick up any damage from it either, so it's just a minor inconvenience for him.
Coming around the final corner, it'll be Camden and Luca, who had the pole position and will win the sprint race, grabbing 8 points to his championship campaign. He will win and start on the front row for the feature race. Carson will be P2, picking up 7 points, and J&B with 6, claiming a podium. El Capitan, Jabbar with a nice 5th place. Halberg in 6th, and F1 Nerd will finish off in P7.
Yeah, so as things stand, the championship between Haas and Alfa Romeo is pretty much exactly the same, since Camden gained a point on, well, actually no, Alfa do gain a point since J&B finished 3rd, gained 2 points on him, and then Capitan gained 1 point on Jabbar. And then if things stay like that for the race, then that'll be pretty hefty point swing since first and third are separated by 10 points.
There you have it. So we have, it's nice having someone next to me. You keep track of all the numbers. We'll see how it goes for the feature race. I just want to thank everyone for tuning in. This is round number 12 for the silver class, the Hungarian Grand Prix. We have our sprint race, and now we're going to our feature race where we have to use all 3 tire compounds. So this is only special for our sprint weeks for TCR. We don't do it for every race, but only on the sprint weekends. We've kind of combined it, and we used to use this for the All-Star race. Actually, Taz, you were one that actually kind of supported the idea of bringing it to a few races, so thanks to you, we have a 3-tire special here tonight. So drivers have to use all 3 tire compounds, and you can't pit on the final lap, and you can't pit twice under a safety car. You basically need to have at least a green somewhere in the tire life, if that makes sense. So I don't think we'll have a safety car here tonight, although you never know. I hope we don't lose 5 people at the start. I think others would love to have 5 people out, depending on who's still alive.
Yeah.
But so I think it should play a pretty traditional. I would say most people would either start on the medium or the hard. They would go to the opposite tire and save the soft stint for the end. Although if we did have more drivers and a possible safety car, that would shake things up, which it still could happen, because one DNF out on track, if he stopped on track, could, trigger a safety car. So that is what we have here tonight. Yeah, so we're live on both YouTube and the Twitch, and this is starting to be time for prediction time. So I do have the YouTube chat open. Leave your predictions down below, your top 3. The drivers are still getting ready, so if you want to see what tires they're starting on, you do have some time to think about it, as we're closing in on season 15.
What are your predictions?
Oof. I was pretty impressed by Camden in that sprint race, I have to say. He hasn't really made any big mistakes this year. I think Carson could have another good opportunity to grab the lead, and J&B might be a little bit more aggressive. So Camden just has to nail the start, not do anything too crazy. Even if he loses 1 position to Carson, I think he could get it back overall in the stint, and I think he's got the pure speed advantage. So I'm gonna put Camden Luca for the win. I do like his speed advantage, and I think J&B is probably, he put a lot of pressure on Carson. He just really didn't have much battery at the end there to really do an overtake. But I think in an overall, the whole race, I think he could overtake Carson. And seeing as though now Carson's starting on the hard tire, I think that kind of limits him from getting a better start than Camden. And I think if anything, he'll lose positions to possibly J&B or Capitan. So I'll have Carson P3. So I'm going to choose Camden, J&B, and Carson for my top 3. How about you? What are you thinking?
Yeah, originally I was going to go for as they finished in the sprint. But I'm kind of surprised by Carson's tire selection. Because, from the sprint, you have the opportunity to learn about, how your pace is relative to others. And he knows he's good at the start. So you would think he would try and go on a softer tire compound, or at least the equal tire compound to Camden, and try and get him off the line again. But seems like he's gone the other way. So I don't know if I agree with that, but maybe he knows something I don't.
So you're agreeing with me? It'll be Camden, J&B, Carson?
Yep.
All right. there you have it. And Camden must be watching a lot of commentating a lot of platinum class races, because he did a Tasmanian Devil B-Tom formation lap as he roasted the field. But yeah, leave your predictions quickly in the YouTube comments as we here starting our feature race, 50% here for the silver class.
You know, maybe after, well, if I wrap up the title, actually, no, this is more important, the race start.
Here we go, lights out and away we go. Carson again gets a great start, even on the hard tire. Camden will have to defend this. He's using the battery, coming into one. Who's going to be more aggressive? It is Carson, even on the hard tire, pushing out Camden wide. He'll take the lead. And J&B is still pressuring from behind. But it'll be Carson, Camden, and the two Haas's. Farther on back is Chabar and F1 Nerd, who was able to grab one position off of Halberg. Wow, I was not expecting, even with that tire difference, for Carson to grab the lead there. He is really, he knows what he's doing on these starts. It's incredible. Every single week, it's the same thing.
Yeah, it seems like he's proved me wrong immediately. But it's far from over, since Camden probably has both the pace advantage and the tire advantage, so we'll try and be all over the back of him as soon as possible.
Yeah, I think that just kind of proved to Carson just said, yeah, you know, watch my starts now. You know, you thought I really had good starts. Watch now.
Hold my beer.
Yeah, I'll put the hards on and I'll still get a good launch. That's just pure confidence in his race ability for those race starts.
Yeah. Honestly, I think this stage of the race is probably going to be what decides it.
Yeah.
If he can hold him back for the stint, then Camden will have a very hard time making something happen on the hards compared to Carson's mediums, assuming they go onto that tire next.
And if anything, Carson's just holding up Camden and James. James actually got passed by Capitan. Do we have damage on the Haas?
I'm looking now. I don't think so.
Did he... You don't have to reload your setup, right? You should have your setup loaded. Unless he...
Yeah, setup's loaded.
He's
probably just made a mistake somewhere.
Yeah, a little... Let's see if he closes that back up. But Capitan is actually in P3. So he's putting the pressure on Camden. But I was saying, you know, if anything... Carson starting on those hards out there in front. If anything, there's just holding up their overall race time, which actually benefits Carson. So if he could do this for more and more laps, it'll take the advantage away. But I think it'll be just a matter of time, because I think he might even get it before the DRS. He's going to use a little bit of battery than he thought better of it. You might want to wait one more lap just to get that extra DRS advantage.
Yeah, so I looked back at a replay, and it seems like El Capitan got GMB off the start, and then GMB just made a mistake, and that's why the gap is what it is now. But he doesn't have any damage.
It's growing though. He's now 2.8. It was in the ones last lap by, so I don't know. It seems a little... We just did come from the sprint race. Oh, F1 Nerd rallying it on the curve there. Ooh, nice. Oh, he's a little too much rally. A little too much rally.
Yeah, that was a massive amount of curb.
Now it's 3 seconds. Man, I don't know what's going on with JB. That's interesting. Well, coming to lap 4, Camden will have the DRS, and I do expect a pretty easy move here. Carson using a little bit of battery. He'll go defensive in the middle part of the track. Camden will have the outer part. Go side by side.
I think he'll get the run.
Nope. Not yet. Maybe the inside. Carson's gonna defend. It'll be really
Risky.
inside. Watch the inside. You gotta
Oh
watch
my
the wing.
God.
Whew.
Yeah, that was smart of Camden to back out of that.
Yeah. And you know what? He really has been backing out of moves this year. Maybe I was even thinking maybe there's been some points throughout the season where he backs out too much, which could be, you know, bad because then your opponent knows, oh, this guy, you know, he's going to back out, so I could try and take advantage of him. But that one was smart to back out for sure.
Yeah, I thought he was going to get him on the exit, since normally on the outside you have a bit more momentum and a bit more traction. F1 Nerd has another spin. I think this time at the turn 4 curb. But yeah, with the better tires in the outside line, I thought he was going to get him, but it seems like Carson is just really good in the traction zones.
We'll have another go here. Using the battery once more. He'll gain the DRS. He does have to get past him. He's on the quicker tire. He's going to have to send it down the inside into turn 1. Oh, they make contact!
Oh, contact!
Again!
More contact!
Oh, Carson goes off the road. Here comes Capitan. Oh, Camden defends him. He cut him off into 2. Woo!
Camden's got it.
And I think that was all fair and square. I really do. I don't know. I'd have to look back on it. I'm watching it again on my replay.
It's a little dicey, but I don't think anybody did anything particularly bad.
Yeah, if anything, yeah. Maybe a little bit of movement in the braking zone, but I don't think any. That was just some good hard racing.
I think Karsick made a little bit of a mistake there. He turned off the battery a bit too early on the straight, and now he's really paying for it.
Yeah. I wonder if his tires are in check now, making sure, because even if he is on the hard tire, so the tire temp shouldn't be much of an issue. But when you're pushing that far, you're going off track, you're really aggressive. You know, it could knock them out of temp. You know, you got to kind of get back into the rhythm of things. He'll have Capitan now within the DRS, so another medium tire driver. Oh, wow.
You know, I think it's kind of funny because that move looked similar to the move Silent did on me in Monza last week. Just turned off the battery a bit early, started to move back towards the racing line, and boom, down the inside. And unfortunately for me, the safety car came out the next lap. So, yeah, you really have to make sure that when you start to move over, that person really isn't gonna go for a move. So,
well, we had some action up in front. J&B decided to go into the pit lane and do one of his mandatory tires, so he is now onto the hard tire. He'll go a little long into this race, and the next tire will have to be, well, it doesn't have to be, but he'll have to do the soft tire. Oh,
Capitan's out of spin.
Oh, and good thing ghosting was on there because Halberg was coming through out of the exit of the S's, but Haas now 5th and 6th. I know the J&B pit stop, but yeah, it's not it's not going too pretty at the moment.
I don't think that'll work for JMB.
And Capitan's going to use one of his pit stops, probably put the hard tire on.
Yeah, I'm not in favor of the strategy they're on. Medium should still be good at this point, so you should really only switch off them if you're really struggling with overheating.
Yeah, you know what? I kind of think he might have was, because J&B was losing some time to his teammate in the first stint. I know he got overtaken, but just because Capitan took J&B at the start, I feel like J&B would still be able to keep pace with him. But he was kind of losing, so I don't know if he maybe picked up any slight damage, or maybe it was tire temp issues. So yeah, quite interesting, but something triggered him to come into the pits. Maybe that is his strategy all along, or if something had to go a plan B route. I'm not too sure. But
yeah, it's a weird one.
It's not favorable by any means, I don't think.
Only thing I can think of is maybe he was overheating his tires, but I mean, if you weren't overheating them in the sprint, then there shouldn't be a massive difference in the actual race. Sure, the car's a bit heavier and there's a bit more energy going through the tires, but I don't think it would be that big of a difference to take you from being fine to being nowhere.
Yeah, that would be my only guess, is the fuel load, possibly. But you know, some tracks, you know, even if you do everything right on the setups, you could still have some tire temp issues at certain tracks. This is one of them. You could still have some tire temp issues. You know, nothing crazy. You know, there used to be a couple games ago. I remember 2018, more likely. You know, those cars were really oversteery. You had a lot of the ballast at the rear of the car, and there were some tracks. I mean, no matter what you did, by you know, you used to start on the soft tires then, or whatever it was, super soft, and you would go to you know, 5-6 laps in, and no matter what you did, your tires would be overheating. And we really haven't seen overheating issues too much. Tires have been actually quite good, but you know, this is definitely one you do have to kind of make sure in your practice that you kind of go through the rhythms and just kind of keep that in check. So, interesting stuff there.
Yeah. So I'm looking at the gaps to the leader, and it does look like JMB could possibly undercut Carsunk. So maybe that could be the reasoning behind the stop. Although he does have a lot of battery, which he should really be using if he wants to make that happen.
Yeah, the gap's 23 seconds to the leader, so he's about, I guess, 4 seconds under, so it'd be around 19 or so.
Yeah, it's on the edge.
That's about what a pit stop takes, so yeah, he is working on that undercut. Although I think regardless, I think J&B would come out ahead because, you know, Carson is on that harder tire to start, so you know, he'll come out behind, I think, at some stage. By the time he pits, I think he'll come out behind, but then he'll be on a better medium tire, so I think Carson would have to do some overtaking by that point.
Yeah, seems like he's closing on Carsunk slightly, and then the gap to Camden is just staying the same. As for Capitan, he is slightly outside the window of undercutting Chabar. But he is using his battery, so probably just slacking a little bit of pace to pull ahead through pit stops. But
yeah, well, I think with that spin with Capitan, definitely puts Chabar in the picture of a possible podium. But I think J&B could still, you know, I think he'll still be on for a nice podium. But if anything, a P4. Never know, though.
Yeah, I think at the moment Camden's probably clear for the win. And then Carsunk and J&B might have a bit of a battle, and same between El Capitan and Chabar for fourth. Okay, so I'm looking at Hallberg's fuel load, and he's nearly a lap under fueled.
Oh wow!
So I highly doubt he'll make it to the end of the race without some fuel saving. And then Camden through to F1 nerd crashed.
Oh, let's look at this. You never know. Oh, a safety car. And
so that's really screwed J&B and El Capitan.
Yeah, and if anything, goes right into the favor of Camden Luca, because he started on. Oh, let me see if we can see. There is F1 Nerd stranded
actually
on the road.
I think this hurts Camden, since now Carsunk will have his shot on the mediums.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they both will be able to do the pit stops here. They'll get a free pit stop under the safety car.
And this also plays into Halberg's hands, so now he has an opportunity to get in the green on fuel.
Yes, it saves him some fuel. Both Haas's pitting under the green there, so they'll be at the back. Now they could still, I would still pit if I were them. Put those, no, they only have one. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
no,
they
it's
only have the soft, so they have to stay out because they have to satisfy the soft tire, and you won't get to the end on the soft. So
unless they have a fresh set of mediums that can go back onto that.
yes, yeah, you could do that.
Since chances are they'll lose track position the most, if not everybody. So might as well.
Carson going really slow into the pit lane, making sure he doesn't speed. As does Chabar. Here comes Halberg.
Yeah, JMB will jump Halberg. But El Capitan will come out last after all the pit stops.
Yep, so Camden goes on to the hard tire. Carson will be on the medium. Chabar on the hards. Halberg on the mediums.
Okay, so this didn't play out too poorly for JMB, but that undercut chance just went out the window.
Yeah, he loses the undercut. I mean, he does gain a bunch of. I mean, he'll be right there now with the leader.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it does kind of hurt Camden. If anything, it really does help Carson bring that gap back. I would say he's probably the most benefited here.
Yeah, I agree.
He's on the medium. He's on P2, and he cut that gap down that Camden was working on. Now he'll have an opportunity to pass Camden and work on his gap that he needs to get to. The only thing you could look into is, how long do you want to be on these medium tires, right? We're on lap 12. We probably won't get going until the end of lap 13 to start 14, or we could get going right now. I don't know.
If we get going here, then that'll be even more of an advantage for Carson, since Camden's only at 70% battery right now.
Generally, we always get 2 laps under the safety car, so I'm thinking we get at least 1 more lap.
Yeah, I think so too. Unless there's like a safety car right at the end of the race, that's when they'll call it and do a bit of a Abu Dhabi 21.
We gotta let the lap cars go. Oh wait, there are none.
Yeah. Because normally it's out for at least 2 laps, but in that circumstance, it'll come out for like 1 lap and go right back in. Even if the field isn't bunched up, which is, yeah, kind of silly, but...
So how long does a medium tire last? What would you say? Well, I mean, not to puncture life, but life as in what you want to be on that tire for.
Probably 13, 14 laps.
Yeah.
But there's over 20 laps to go. So they'll have to extend it a bit longer, maybe 15, 16, maybe even 17. So medium should still be quicker than the hards over that distance.
Yeah, and then the soft tire, any maximum lifetime on there? What do you get, 5 laps, 6 laps?
So the thing with the softs is that they overheat after 2 laps, and the wear is really high. So it's like first 2 laps are fairly close together on lap time, and then it just drops off at like 2 to 4 tenths per lap. So you wouldn't really want to take it any longer than 8 laps.
Ooh,
but if you can stay out longer without losing track position, then that would be favorable.
Yeah.
Since you don't go into that overheating zone as early.
Alright, well here it is. Safety car in this lap. This will be a nice start to the race. Everybody got bunched back up. Remember, a lot of these drivers, I think everybody, will have to put on those softs. So everybody's done at least 1 pit stop to go onto the opposite tire. Now they all have to pit at some point again to put those red soft tires on. Camden's the control car. He'll decide when he wants to go. Safety car is in the pit lane. Carson is tapping the back of Camden a little bit. And Camden decides to go, and Carson gets a great start. He timed that perfectly. He'll be using all the battery into turn 1. He has J and B right behind. He'll be 3 going into turn 1.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I didn't see. Was there contact? Oh, he's drifted it.
Oh, my God.
Oh, man, he almost took Jabbar out. Here comes Halberg. Here comes Halberg into P3. It's still Camden to Carson. Halberg, a big gainer in that safety car restart. J&B was maybe a little bit desperate there.
Yeah, on the cold, hard tires, that was really bold.
Well, it's not over yet. Carson, he'll have the advantage that Camden had earlier on in the race. You see the exits of these corners.
Yeah. That's the thing with the hards on the safety car restart. They're so cold, and it takes them so long to get up to temperature compared to mediums.
Oh, who's that? Halberg into the wall.
That is incredibly unfortunate.
Did he get the damage? Oh,
doesn't look like it.
Oh, I think he might have saved it. Oh, good save, Halberg. But man, you don't want to spin there, but good save.
Yeah. So it's going to be very hard to recover from there without another safety car. But looks like Carson, no, not quite close enough.
No, he's not going to send it. He might have a nice run to turn 2.
His next best opportunity will be when DRS is activated. It's either the restart or when DRS is open. So.
Almost identical to how he had at the start. Camden tried a few moves at the start, and then he that third time he was like, let's just wait for the DRS to get activated, and then we'll go for the charge then. And that's when we had the crazy little bit of contact into turn 1. So I'm excited for another go ahead, but this time roles are reversed.
Yeah, and it seems like generally speaking, Carson is a bit better with ERS management. He always seems to have 10% more at least.
Yeah, and Camden's at 44, Carson at 65, give or take.
Yeah, both having a little adventure through, what's that, turn 11? So.
Yeah. Alpha versus Alpha. But who is the true Alpha? We'll see.
I don't know, but I know one thing's for sure. My money's on the Alpha.
That's a smart man right there. He knows how to spend his money. Oh, and DRS now enabled, so if anything, it'll be next lap that he does a charge. Coming down J&B into third. Recovered quite nicely. But he does seem a little bit off from what we've seen in previous weeks after he won 5 in a row. It just seems a little not right. Something's not 100% right, I feel. But it's not over yet. He's still charging ahead. Jabbar in 4th, Capitan in 5th. Halberg picking up a penalty there. So that is not going to do him any favors. Ooh, and look at this. Camden picking up I think those hard tires are now warmed up. It's around a 7/10 gap through that S section.
Yeah, I think Karsuk might have missed his opportunity because those mediums aren't going to get any younger.
Yep. He'll have the DRS. He'll close in, but a fastest lap, a 19.6 by Camden Luca. Carson was not able to beat that. Closes in with the DRS down to half a second. But I think at this stage, the hard tire is actually, I would say maybe the more racy tire. It's more of that race tire you'd like to be on.
I think it really just comes down to how your setup is and how prone you are to overheating on the softer tires.
Yeah.
So if you have a bit more overheating on the mediums and softs, then maybe you might want to run the hard a bit longer. But if you're fine on the mediums, then that might be the tire you want to use. Looking at the temperatures on the wheel, it seems fine. So I think Camden's just quicker.
We'll see one more time how the advantage is. He's still within the DRS. Camden going to the pit wall, trying to break some slipstream. Even though you don't really gain too much at that distance.
Yeah, no, he didn't really need to do that. Slipstream in this game in general is pretty weak, and you don't gain much with the DRS around this track. So
yeah, especially on a short straight like that, you're really not getting top speed into the car. Capitan closing up on Chabar as he goes a little wide. I wonder if Chabar picked up a warning there. But he's doing pretty good here today. If he could beat El Capitan, he'll gain some points on the for the constructor title. As Camden is doing his job out in front, and if it stands like this, he'd gain, I guess, at least 10 points, maybe 11 if he had that fast lap still by the end of it on the Haas. Chabar would pick some points up here on Capitan. But, man, these guys know what's up for grabs. I mean, these guys, all season long, you know, even the AlphaTauris, well, the three teams have been really all hands in, and that's been pretty cool to watch this season, as Capitan will be having a charge on Chabar. He's not really using any battery here. He's just going to let Capitan kind of float on by. Now
yeah, I have no idea why he didn't defend that.
Yeah, now he'll use some battery, but he didn't have no DRS, so yeah, that one you got to defend there.
Left the door wide open there.
Yeah. Even if he thinks Capitan had the pace advantage, you know, at this track, you know, it's pretty hard to overtake. You could probably use your skills to stay out ahead. You know, like we're seeing with Camden, he's on the, you know, the slower tire, and he held off Carson to a pretty good point.
Yeah, and these guys are on the same strategies.
Yeah,
and they're fighting each other in the championship. So that's I don't understand that.
Yeah, he's got older tires too, Capitan, by a few laps.
Yeah.
So interesting.
Yeah, it seems like Carson's window of opportunity has passed.
Well, here comes
at this rate.
He'll have the DRS again. Will he close in enough?
Nah. Now, if this were F1 2021 or any game before this one, then you might want to be the guy behind, generally speaking.
Yeah.
Since the DRS effect in that game was much more powerful, and you recovered more ERS behind the other guy. But in this game, it seems like it's generally better to be the guy in front.
Yeah.
Because of those factors. So don't think Jabbar is gonna have an opportunity to get back at him.
No. Yeah, sometimes, you know, as you said in those previous games, you kind of want to be the guy behind. And whenever I felt like whenever I was the driver ahead, sometimes you really never know, are they playing with me or not? Are they trying to get past me or are they not? And sometimes I would be just ahead the entire race, so we're chilling. And I remember one time, it was on F1 2020, I was fighting for a podium. It was back in season 10. I was battling Chatty Duck, and I was ahead the entire race, the entire stint ahead, and he overtakes me for P3 for the podium with like either the last lap or the penultimate lap. He was saving his battery the entire time, and then he just dumps it all with the he was at the Netherlands, and I was like, wow, he really just played me. Oh, J&B.
Yeah.
Half spin there. And
Jabbar's putting him under pressure.
No wing.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah. Rough day in the office.
Yeah, nightmare race for him.
This could be really hurtful in his championship hopes. I mean, good thing he's still moving.
Yeah, Jabbar has to be careful here.
Yeah. Jabbar has to know that he's got damage, but it's difficult because he does have damage. He's not obliged to get out of the way necessarily, but you can't. It's difficult because Halberg is now right on the back, but he'll pit here.
Yeah, don't think he'll take softs to the end, so probably have to switch on the mediums.
Yeah.
Which is really unfortunate, so chances are he'll probably finish last this race.
Yeah, I agree. And he'll be really far off, and if it stays green, he'll have to do an extra pit stop on... he does have the softs selected, so can he do some magic and get to the end? You know, he'll have to tire save right away, but I think either way, he's going to be last, I think.
Yeah, I think more than likely he'll do soft.
Yeah. So, and that was a driver error, personal driver error, so that hurts his championship campaign just a little bit. 6th position.
I think it's a little more than a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit, but hey.
What's that?
8 points he only gets for 6, so yeah, I guess you're right. I mean, it's a lot of it.
Yeah. I mean, if Camden gets 26, that's a 18-point swing right there.
I guess that could be it.
So,
J&B?
I mean, yeah.
Almost. I mean, you need Camden would need 50. What 50? 3
56. Wait, no. Yeah, 52.
If they tied, but I don't think they would tie. But
yeah.
If they tied,
because
J&B
count back
would get it.
Yeah.
So theoretically 53, but I mean,
yeah,
that would be quite.
Yeah.
I don't think you don't really need that much. Camden.
Yeah, I think at that point you could just call it there.
Yeah.
Unless for whatever reason Camden's just like, yeah, no, I'm not racing, and J&B goes on a tear in the last 2 rounds.
Yeah, that's pretty big. I knew tonight would be some sort of a turning point. It's not over yet. I mean, we things could still happen, ladies and gentlemen. You never know.
Yeah,
it's never over till the fat lady sings.
I don't want to jinx it, but yeah, Camden's putting himself in a position where he can wrap it up next week.
Yep. And he knows that. He knew this was a big race coming in. You know, I was talking to him, coming into this race. He wanted to get a good night's rest for it. He knew it was a big race. You know, all these three are really. I know we have some low numbers, but it doesn't mean they're not trying. I mean, these guys are really putting a lot of practice and preparation for these races to make sure that they're giving it their all. And they know what's at stake. There's a fastest lap. Due to the soft tire for J&B.
Yeah, I think really the only thing that could stop Camden from getting pretty much all the points available is J&B. Since chances are he'll make another stop on the softs. And he should have fresher tires than Camden when he does. When Camden does make his last stop. And on lighter fuel. But Camden's been rapid. Pretty much all race.
Yes.
So
I mean, he's.
If I were him, I would probably try and save some battery. Yeah,
Was he got
can
8?
take that fastest lap.
Well, he'll get some when he pits, but yeah, there's really no reason to be using much here.
Yeah.
Now, if you're Camden, what do you do with the pit stop? Do you just wait until Carson pits and then cover him off the next lap? It's probably the safe thing to do.
I think he has enough gap to do that.
Yeah.
If it were like 1-2 seconds, then...
Here's Halberg on Shabar. Halberg carrying that penalty. Halberg getting into P4. And going back to remember that overtake that Capitan took on Shabar, and how crucial that could have been, because Shabar kind of got held up when J&B made that mistake. Because when he had the wing damage, he held up Shabar like 5 seconds, basically, through that tight S section. But if he still had position on Capitan, he'd be in a nice P3. So it really just proves to show, like, all those battles really do mean something. You know, you really have to fight a lot of them. Some more than others. Some, you know, if you're pit stop behind, yeah, you don't need to speedy gunner it, but but if you're on the same strategy, there's all within reason to go and fight like hell for that position, because he would be in a P3 if he would still be able to keep going with it. But obviously a lot of hypotheticals of if he would have been able to keep him out for that long, but yeah.
Yeah. I think Speedy Gunner does have at least one record this season.
Yeah.
That's probably fastest season ban in TCR history. Obviously, aside from like intentional takeouts, Captain Blade. Excuse me. Yeah.
Yeah, he quite literally killed a dog on that one.
Yeah.
Taking out Perry the dog.
Took him back behind the bar.
Yeah, got the belt down. Damn.
Man.
Hope everyone's enjoying the sprint race here at Hungary. It's been actually, you know what, a very enjoyable one, I think. You know, you don't need many. You only need 2 to tango, and you only really need 8 to square dance. So, you know, someone is one without a partner to do square dancing, but you know, that's all right. Had a nice quality race here. A little bit of strategy, I think, helped with the 3-tire special.
Yeah.
Here's a question. Do you think well, I guess TCR, but do you think F1 should implement a 3-tire special to use all 3-tire compounds like we do here tonight?
I think they could do it, but they would have to make the mediums and the softs better race tires. Because it seems like at the moment the trend this year has been the hard tire being by far the best race tire. So everyone just spends like 90 or 80%, 80 to 90% of the race on it. Yeah. And the mediums and the softs are just used because they have to use them. So if they could find a better balance, then for sure it'd probably mix up the racing.
Yeah, I've always wondered, like, when they first introduced the 3 different tires back in 2016, because 2015 you had the option in the prime, so like one quicker tire, one slower tire. In 2016 they introduced the 3 different tire compounds. So, you know, but they didn't say you have to use all 3. You could kind of pick which ones you wanted. And some seasons it was good when all the tires kind of worked in balance with each other, but I feel like nowadays, you know, with all the practice the teams do, they really do know what tires to go to and not go to, and it's basically turned out like the soft tire has been your qualifying tire, and the others are your race tires, and usually either the medium or the hard is better in the race, and this year it's been the hard tire that's usually quite better. So yeah, if they could get the tires under check a little bit, I think having a mandatory 2-stop would shake things up a little bit.
Yeah, I think they need to hit the nail on two things. So one, there should be larger pace deltas between the two tires. Seems like at the moment, the softs are quite a bit quicker than the mediums and the hards, but only for one lap, and then they're just horrible. And then the mediums are barely faster than the hards, and they drop off a lot faster than the hards. So they would need to have larger deltas. And then the second thing is that the mediums and the softs need to be more durable. They can't drop off after 2-3 laps after like we saw in the Baku sprint race, where some teams tried to throw on the softs and they were falling off pretty much as soon as they put them on. They had to make a pit stop, which is embarrassing, really. The softs should be able to last at least, well, not at least, but up to a third of the race distance, which is what the sprint is, a third of the full race. So,
I
yeah,
totally agree with a lot of that, and yeah, we'll see how that does in F1. But quite crucially, as we were talking about that, Camden and Carson both pitted, and pretty much everyone pitted besides Jabbar to put on the soft tires towards the end of the race. And
yeah, but
also, quite crucially, Jabbar got out ahead of Carson, so he'll slow him up a little bit more, helping out his teammate a little bit to help secure it. But Jabbar will have to pit probably at the end of this lap, and he'll put the soft tires on to the end of the race. We'll see where he filters out. You still have J&B out on those 7-lap-old softs, and he still has quite a distance left to go.
yeah, I think if Camden wants 26 points, he's going to have to go for it now, because the softs are going to drop off very quickly after this. And he's not using the battery.
Yeah.
Oh, now he is.
Yeah, he's quite out. Carson will have a go, and I think he'll get the fast lap. He's got so much more battery. And that's something Camden probably should have thought about a little bit more in that while he was on those hards. He was increasing the gap all the way. Probably should have saved some of the battery to do the fastest lap on his first soft tire lap. I know it's only 1 point, but why? You might as well have it. It's an easy point to grab.
Yeah, and Karnslik, he's going for it. He's using the battery fastest in sector 1.
Now, I think if J&B pits, he might be able to pip that soft tire, the fastest lap back. So I don't know.
Yeah, he's almost got a full battery as well.
Although he is in a nice position, J&B. P3, if he could get this done and just get to the end of the race, he'll still get a podium, and he's right back into the championship.
I don't think so. I think
you think he'll pit still?
His tires would be too slow. Capitan and Halberg might even catch up to him by the end.
Yeah, I think you're right. No, there's Camden. Let's see what Carson can do. I think he'll smash it into the 16s.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
3,000!
Really? Wow.
Yeah. I know Camden's going to be mad about that. So, yeah.
Yeah, let me open up the fastest lap here. Let's see. On the screen. There it is. Wow. Oh, 3,000s.
Wow.
You were slower, Camden. What can I say?
And I don't even think he used as much battery as he could have. Even if you're under 10%, overtake is faster than not using it.
Yeah.
Up until you hit 0, of course. So.
Absolutely.
And he won't get another opportunity to beat that. Unless somehow he's got a lot more in the tank and that first lap wasn't a good one for him. But I don't think it's going to happen.
I wonder if Capitan will help his teammate here and not overtake J&B. It is for a podium, but
yeah,
it is also for a championship.
So Camden Luca 1 second down on his previous lap. Karsuk nearly 2 seconds down.
Wow.
So if anything shows just how quickly the sauce drop off around here, that's it. I don't think he'll ever get as good of a reference. and J&B nearly 3 seconds off what he was doing at the start of the stint.
Yeah,
So
Halberg has the penalty, so Capitan has about 4.5 seconds to the next car behind. So if he does want to help J&B, I think J&B could still hold on to the podium. Halberg has that penalty, and Chabar is, I think, just a little too far back.
yeah. I don't know if El Capitan will play the team game, but if JMB does need to defend, he does have a lot more battery, but the difference in tires is so large it might not make any difference.
Yeah. Do you think he'll get a puncture? He's around 10 laps now.
I don't know. I've never gone this long on the softs in practice, so I guess we'll find out together.
It's been a long time since I've seen a puncture, especially on this game. And I don't really think I've seen a puncture.
Yeah. So I guess for Golden and Plat guys, if you want to be really bold on Wednesday and Thursday, this will be a good bit of information here to see if you can take this off this long.
Yeah, although the only reason why he's still out in front, I mean, J&B is one of the quickest drivers in the silver class. He's definitely better than Halberg and Chabar, and he does have some pace advantage over Capitan.
Yeah.
So, I think that's why he's trying to. It's kind of working for him because.
Yeah. Capitan wants that podium. He's going for it.
Oh yeah, it's been, I don't know when the last time he's had one. I feel like it's been quite a few races. The top three have been grabbing the podiums as of late.
But yeah, JB could either get a puncture and finish last of the finishing runners, hold on to third, but if he does get past, then he'll probably hold on to fourth at least. So it's either third, fourth, or last, barring any mistakes.
Man, this is J&B's season basically right here. If he holds on to third, he's still at least in the conversation. If he finishes fourth, it's not a good day. But if he gets a puncture, or the other drivers are still coming quick. We still have 2 laps left. If he finishes 6th, that's pretty much over with the championship. Here comes Capitan. Oh, he's working on the outside of his teammate. He says, come on, I gotta get going. I got some cars, I got some objects getting closer in the mirror.
If I were Capitan, I'd probably wait until the last lap. Because, I mean, you've got the gap. And the softs, they get worse. Exponentially worse as the stint goes on. So, JB's tires will be getting worse a lot faster than Capitan's will. And he should have enough of a pace advantage that if he gets alongside, he'll just destroy him on the exit.
Here comes Halberg. And Chabar.
Oh, what happened to Carson? He's nearly 12 seconds down.
Yeah, I think it's just what the pace is. Maybe he might have backed off a little bit. He probably is saying that Camden has the pace over him. But we're on the final lap, so Camden is on the final lap. He's got a great cushion, no battery left, so he'll go to the end. Carson, nice solid P2 at the moment. This is what we have. Capitan on the back of his teammate. He's using the battery and the DRS. Will he try it? No. Maybe into turn 2.
I've gotten screwed over by a glitch.
Well, you can't see anything. Well, here comes Capitan. Oh, he's still behind. Here comes Halberg as well. And Chabar a little bit farther behind. Capitan is really getting slowed up. And I think at this point, he's really helping out his teammate. I think it's kind of a half-hearted. He wants it, but he also doesn't want it. We're going to go to the final corner. We have to go to Camden here. Camden Luca will get the pole position, the sprint win, and the feature win, but he will not get a tip of the hat because he does not have the fastest lap. That would go to Carson, who has it over 3 thousandths of a second. Carson will get P2 and an additional point. Here comes for the podium, Capitan. Halberg looking inside. Chabar is right there as well. What's going to happen? I think it'll stay in order. And that is a great teammate to have. J&B P3 as he holds on, and those tires hold on as well.
Great job from Camden. But I have to say, I'm a little annoyed because I went to go check the race director to see what happened to Carsunk. And then the game just started showing me the results as if the race was finished. So I could only pause, check the race director or the results. Like, it was showing the point screens and the final classification. So, yeah, I'll have to look at that from your perspective.
Yeah, I think there was no doubt Capitan was not trying to pass. I think he would have gotten past with that tire difference for sure. So I think that is a good teammate there. He was almost doing as much as he could to stay as quick as possible, but not pass. So
yeah,
good stuff.
I was surprised he was riding behind him that closely, though. You would think that you'd leave him a little bit of space to communicate. You know, I'm not trying to overtake you here, but
that's what I was
thinking
too.
Whatever reason, like if J&B makes a mistake, you don't want to be so close that you get caught up in it. So, yeah.
So what do we got? Camden has now 255 from my calculations.
So, Camden, oh crap, hold up.
26. Okay, so Camden should have 255 points. Carson takes second now with 228 as a 27-point difference. And then J&B would be a 30-point difference back. Although it could have been like a lot worse.
Oh yeah.
Those final laps really saved J&B a season so far. But with 2 rounds left to go, 52 points up for grabs for the maximum. It'll be quite close there, but good all in all. So we're gonna go to the post race here. Let's
Hello.
welcome. Let's see if we get to. All right, let's see if we got these people coming in. If anyone watching has any questions for the top 3, leave them down in the comments below. And we will get this party started. We'll start with P3 in the Haas J&B. Congratulations on the podium as well as the sprint podium. It seemed like maybe you were a little bit on the back foot here today. Probably not the best day in the office. How was it out on track? What were you struggling with here tonight?
I was struggling with traction and grip, mostly, and tire wear.
We saw a few spins and mistakes throughout the feature race. Any, where were those? Where did those occur out on track?
I think it was. I think it was turn. I think it was turn 4, 3, or 5. I don't know. I lost control up there, and I got myself wing damage. I had to make an early pit stop for softs and make those towards the end.
And you were able to hold on to those soft tires. Do you know what the percentage of the tire wear was by any chance?
80%.
Oh, 80%. How do you think you might have gotten a puncture? Did you do any tire saving, or did you just push, or what was the mindset there?
I was kind of pushing when I got out of the pits so I can make up the time that I lost from spinning and got myself wing damage and the pit stop. So I had to push like hard to catch up.
And at the final few laps, you had your teammate behind you. You probably were aware of what that meant for your season, but you know, he probably helped you out there getting that podium. So you know, not trying to overtake you there, but yeah, kind of talk us through that end there. Were you aware that Capitan wasn't going to pass you, and did you think you could still manage that podium?
Maybe, but I didn't know if I was going to get a podium because of my tire wear. So I tried my best. He was trying to pass me. So we were battling, and then the rest of the cars, I'm caught up, and then the final lap was intense.
Absolutely. Well, you sit back, to my calculations, 30 points back from the Drivers' Championship. We'll see how the Constructors are as well, with 2 rounds left to go. Good luck with that. Taz, or B-Tom, do you have any questions for J&B?
Oh yeah, so if you could have done anything differently, either with the setup or how you approached the race, what would you have done differently and why?
I probably would have put more downforce on my setup because I was not very fast on the corners. That's what I struggled with most of the race. So I think I could have put my wings like up to like 45, and I would have got like better traction and better corner speed.
If you don't mind, could you tell us what wings you were running?
For the sprint race, I was running like 36, 39, but for the feature race, I changed my arrow to 42, 39, so that kind of helped, but not much.
That's interesting. Park rimming was off. Is that normally what we do?
Oh, I don't know. I think it should be on, but I don't know if you could. I guess maybe he lucked out.
Yeah, I guess so.
That's a lobby issue, I guess. I mean, possibly. I don't know if you're. I guess you're not able to change it.
Yeah, that's super low on wings. Though. I'm surprised he managed to take this off to the end with that.
Or no, you're allowed to change your front wing, aren't you?
Yeah, your
Yeah,
front wing you can change.
He went up on the rear wing as well. So.
Oh,
yeah.
J&B, you went up on the front wing, the back wing as well. You went up.
You can't go up to the back wing, but you can do it on the front wing.
Oh, so he just did the front wing then. Oh, all right. But yeah.
Oh, okay, I thought he said he went from like 32 to 36 in the rear wing. I was like, what?
Oh, no. I think he had, oh, yeah, I don't know, but...
Yeah, I had
Okay.
36, 39. And then I went up to 42, 39.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's very low wings for Hungary, but still managed to get a podium with it, so props to you for that.
Yeah, and, yeah, absolutely. And his teammate Capitan said, the team gave us the green light to fight for the podium. He just couldn't get past him on the straight because he was faster, and those wings definitely, support that. I guess he was trying to get past. He was just really quick on the straight. So yeah, it actually, went all good. Well, good luck for the remaining 2 rounds, J&B, as we will go to The AlphaTauri, P2 of Carson, P2 in the sprint, P2 in the race. You were able to get the fastest lap by 3,000, so you do get one additional point there, and you deny Camden of a super hat trick. Yeah, overall, how would you say your race went?
It was long, and I don't know. The safety car screwed me in my strategy, but I don't think I was going to be able to get up to Camden. Camden's pace was just way better than me. So
Yeah. Now, when you say the safety car kind of screwed you, me and Taz kind of both agreed that you were actually the biggest gainer, we thought, in that safety car, because you closed up the gap from what Camden had managed to get, and then you were starting P2 on the quicker tire, and you were all over the back of Camden, but before the DRS zone. And then it seemed like once the DRS got activated, the hard tire of Camden and his race pace started to take over. So there was kind of a window there where it could have possibly happened, but you think overall, would you change anything in the race? You think a different outcome would have happened, or you think Camden had the pace over you?
well, Camden definitely had the pace, but I think my plan was to extend the hards a little bit and then do a shorter medium and a shorter soft at the end, so I'm in like their optimum range for the rest of the race. And so I was hoping to gain on him when he goes onto the hards, but the safety car allowed him to get on the hards and warm him up. So I saved him as long as I could, but yeah, and then I just had to run the mediums long, which longer than I wanted to, and at the end of it I was struggling, and then I pitted probably as soon, like, I don't know, as early as I would be comfortable with onto the softs at the end. So that's why I think screwed me. But either way, I don't think it would have changed anything, but who knows.
All right, and Tom, any questions for Carson?
Yeah, so I'm looking back at your battle with Camden on lap 5, and it looks like you kind of left the door open a little bit from the make a move down the inside. Do you think you could have maybe held him off if you had played that a bit differently? And if you did hold him off on that occasion, do you think you would have been able to hold him back for the stint? And if you started ahead on the mediums, you think maybe you might have won the race in that circumstance, or do you think it was just inevitable?
Well, that one you're talking about, I just actually saved the clip and I'm watching it right now. I gave him like a car's width, and then he went deep and made contact, and I got pushed off track. So I'll think about it. But either way, I don't think anything was like Cameron had to make a mistake, and he just never made a mistake. And he just had the pace overall. So I don't think anything would have changed. But I was surprised with myself keeping him behind while I was on the hards for as long as I did. I was expecting him to pass the first DRS lap, but I think my straight line was a little better. But either way, like I said, I don't think anything else would have made a difference unless he made a mistake, which he didn't.
Yeah, we noticed that you generally had a bit more ERS than Camden, and I think we saw that play out in both your guys' first hot laps on the sauce with beating him out. It's the fastest lap by 3,000ths. So
yeah, Camden can thank Jabbar for that. Because he stayed out an extra lap, I think maybe trying to hold me up, but he just gave me DRS on the front stretch and the second DRS zone, so that's the only reason I got it. And I made a wing adjustment in the pits to help me, but
I guess it was a double-edged sword, since you got held up, but that also gave you the fastest lap.
When he was pitting, I slowed way down to make sure I would get that DRS. Because I could have passed him earlier, but I didn't want to.
Sneaky Carson, I like it.
Yeah.
That's just knowing what's going on in the situation. Going for the fastest lap and everything.
Yeah,
Very nice.
every point matters. At this point.
Absolutely, it does. Absolutely. Well, good results and good luck for the remaining two. And we will go on to our winner in the Alfa Romeo of Camden Luca. You have a now 27-point gap to the championship. Pole position, sprint win, race win, no fastest lap, so maybe a little sour taste there, but I think overall you should be quite happy. A nice performance here.
Yeah, I was definitely disappointed when I saw that Carson got me by 0.003 of a second for the fastest lap. And yeah, I mean, maybe Chibara gave him the DRS, but I mean, in that moment, like, he had to hold him off. Like, the battle for the win is essentially the battle for the championship. Like, going into today, I really had the mentality of whoever wins this race is going to win the championship. That's just how much I knew the importance of finishing ahead of Carson and JMB. So wish I could have gotten the Grand Slam, but still, yeah, I'm really happy with my pace. I just wish I would have been able to adapt to the hards a little better, just because, like Carson said, he was able to stick with me for way too long. And once you get outside of DRS, it's pretty easy to pull a gap if you have the pace or the better tire. So yeah, no, it was an exciting race, actually. Him and I had a couple of good battles. He mentioned the turn one thing. I think it was just a racing incident. I actually got pushed in the grass. That's why I went deep, because I couldn't stop the car. I got pushed into the grass a little bit and tried to not hit him, but obviously there wasn't much I could have done there. So, and then we had a close moment in turn, I don't know if it's turn two or turn three technically, but yeah, the left-hander, we were as close as we could have gotten. And I was on the curb on the inside there, and it's sketchy riding the curbs around here as it is, especially in that corner, and then the uphill right-hander at the start of Sector 2. But we made it work, and I'm not surprised, because I think I trust Carson more than just about anybody else in this class. So, yeah, good race, good speed, and just happy Alfa Romeo got some good points too. Chibara had a great race. I think he got screwed over by the safety car. I really think he honestly could have gotten the podium, maybe, if the safety car didn't come out. And who knows, if we had a couple extra laps, he could have gotten by, the Haas's maybe. So, yeah, just a good race.
B-Tom, any questions?
Yeah. I know earlier you said that you had the mentality that whoever wins the race was going to win the championship. Given your gap coming into this race, why was it that you sort of had this mentality? Since, you would still have the lead of the championship as long as you finished on the podium in both races, assuming JMB won both of them.
Yeah. Well, I think, the sprint was important just because that set you up for the start of the feature. And, there was a lot of circumstances that could have unfolded in that race just because you're going at it for 12 laps. Who knows what can happen. So I think there was just a lot of obstacles today. And just in general, you mentioned the gap. It was 18 points, I believe, going into today. And because I won the race, now it's over a whole race going into Portugal. Now, if JMB or Carson won, then that probably would have put the gap in single digits. And I feel like most weeks JMB is probably faster than me, honestly. And with the starts that Carson gets, and like Seafree says, he tends to be sneaky. Like, I would have been a little uncomfortable going into the last couple of weeks, and it's not over. Like, remember last year in the Golden class, God and Weeb had a 26-point gap going into the finale, and he only won by 2 points. So
one, I think.
Yeah, either way, it's not
1 point, and we were talking about how crucial 1 point is. Yeah, the fastest lap point, that 1 point, this 1 point here, this 1 point here. Over the course of the season, they all count.
Yeah, no, they do, and I'm not predicting anything because, like I said, it's still a long way to go. There's a lot that can happen in these next 2 weeks, and I don't really know how I feel about these next two tracks, just because I don't think I've raced at either of them in TCR. Maybe Portugal, but that was quite a while ago. So it's going to be fun. Carson and J&B are fantastic. It seems like every week this is becoming a thing of it's, the three of us on the podium. So I just had to do what I did today for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, well, I mean, now you're in a position where what you need to do to win the championship is quite simple. Just beat both of them next week, and it's yours. So, yeah, no pressure.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I mean, that's easier said than done. J&B has won just as many races as I have this season. And, I think Hungary is probably a top 3 track for me. So we'll see what happens next week. But, it's going to be a good fight, and hopefully things go my way. But I'm also focused on constructors because I believe it's a 17-point gap between us and Haas. So that is very much alive, and I hope we can get that done.
Absolutely. Well, the only way to find out is to tune in for next week, which is the Portugal Grand Prix next Tuesday, same time, same place. And as Taz or B-Tom had just mentioned, it could be wrapped up as far as the Drivers' Championship, maybe the Constructors as well, but that will probably be done at the finale, which is at Belgium in 2 weeks' time. So that'll do it for the post-race interviews, and here tonight, B-Tom, I'll ask you, since I have a co-commentator this week, just a little wrap-up of how do you think everything went tonight?
It was an interesting race. We saw a couple different strategies play out with some people starting on the mediums, some people starting on the hards. Then, with the safety car coming into play, that kind of mixed things up a bit, especially between Camden and Carsunk. Overall a pretty clean race. No real major incidents. It was pretty enjoyable.
Absolutely. Well, I just want to thank everyone for tuning in here tonight for round 12 for the Hungarian Grand Prix here in the silver class. Don't forget to check the description for more information. You can head over to our website where we have more information. You can join our Discord where we are the most active. We also have the Fanatec affiliation link if anyone is trying to get some new equipment ahead of the new game of F123. You use the link, a portion of the sales help out TCR and be much appreciated, so it could help fund your guys' trophies and such. All that good stuff is down below, so check us out there. And to everyone back at TCR, it's been B-Tom and myself, C Freeze. We have the Golden class tomorrow, Platinum class on Thursday, and it's been a pleasure with C Freeze here. And until next time, have a good night, everybody.